Okay. This is much smoother than 1 hour ago, even though I had been debugging it over the weekend. But now we're up, we're live, ready to go. This is like my main website where you can get to our course. Like I call it open educational resources, but building lots of Jupyter notebooks and ideas and approaches and problem solving. But this is my main website. It's also how to like get in touch with me or like learn more about me if you're interested, or you can be like, screw that guy, I just need this class and I'm out. Is anyone still scanning or writing? Give me a second there. It's also in, so I'll give a tour of like Husky CT for all of our course resources and submitting stuff. But this first link is also like right in Husky CT, but I wanted to at least give you that so that even if you don't have Husky CT, you could get to there. So that if you follow that link, then you end up here as like, who is Ryan Cooper? Who is Professor Cooper? This first link at the top of the page, that's for like scheduling office hours. So I do it by appointment. I don't, instead of having like a block of time. So you can check your schedule and it matches up with my calendar. At least I think it will. Now as I'm thinking about it, so UConn over the summer just like straight up ran over with a truck Google. And they're like, good luck, and scattered my calendar, all my files, my YouTube stream was like all connected to UConn somehow, and now they're just like, so now I have like two different channels, one that I have no access to, and then this new one that's brand new. So start from scratch, start fresh. And I've learned so much in these years of becoming a YouTube like internet personality with all of my dozens of followers. Okay, so coming down, we're not in, and I saw some people coming back from applied dynamics, but we're down here in computational mechanics. So computational mechanics. This course is, the way that I run it is all kind of like projects and problems in Jupyter notebooks. So using Python, using Jupyter. If all of this is like, yes, 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 then awesome, welcome to the class. If you're like, oh no, oh no, oh no, that's okay. We can still work together. The goal is that by the end, you're just at least not afraid of Python and Jupyter and kind of building things together. So we'll jump into like syllabus. And some of you have had classes with me before. This class is, because it's all like Python problem solving, everything is resubmit, so you can submit anything and resubmit anything. So if you did it, you knew like what you wanted to do, but not how to do it. Like you kind of had the general pseudo coding mindset of like, I want it to loop through these things and get this thing done. I just don't know why I'm getting these errors. Maybe you got like a 75, like TA can give you a grade and give you some feedback, like constructive feedback. Like, try this function, or a range only has one R in it, like little things like that. You can resubmit, then the 75 is gone, and whatever the new grade is your new grade. So ideally, everybody has a 100 on every assignment, because why not? But also, you're a student taking probably 5 other courses, 4 or 5 other courses, or maybe you have 3 other courses, but one of them is senior design, and that's 60 hours a week. So if your goal is kind of like get an 85 and move on, I can work with that too. Like that's totally fine. So however you want to approach like resubmission. So if you like getting every point, then we can work with that. If you just need a certain grade, then you can resubmit and like just get enough. But it helps to communicate what you're trying to do. It's like I just need a B so I can get out of this program, because whatever, the country needs me and I'm gonna go be a federal employee, and I don't have time for you and your crazy Python ideas, Professor Cooper. Like, all right, thanks for your service. So let's get into, so I have my like course objectives. So part of it is kind of learning Python, doing like physics-based problems, so engineering kind of problems. But I want to know, the course is required, so I know that you are required to be here. But you're choosing to be a mechanical engineer, but that's a whole separate subject. Let's step out of like, I have to be here because I need to check a box, and this box needs to be checked because the box is unchecked. Step out of that mindset. Why would you want to do things with a computer? Like, why would an engineer want to use a computer? Why learn Python or C++ or Java or Julia or MATLAB? Like, why use any of those tools to solve problems? Like, what's the point? So I'm gonna hand out. I want to know what you guys are thinking.
No, it was 20 minutes. So
Why are we here? We're using Python. If you know how to use it,
to like save trees.
to save trees.
It's like you're using the computers and having to do like
Yeah. But do we really save trees? Like if we're like,
I mean, if you're not using paper, right?
Yeah, but think about like all the data centers that are like dumping.
Probably still
Like right now down in Waterford, they're thinking about building a new data center.
It's gonna kill some trees.
That would kill some trees. And
I've seen that people. It's actually really there's a farm, and the way they're heating their farm, the way they're heating their farm is with it's a Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So they're using heat from the Bitcoin mining computers.
Yeah, so you could use heat exchangers.
Yeah.
That's a great like
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah. To conserve energy. was a slow transition back to education. I was on job sites a lot. I had to show up literally 7 and I'd be showing up here. I was working with one guy. I'd show up. Took him 2 weeks and we were standard. So I would just say, I'm going to just be like, dude, you're fucking you guys aren't going to work for me.
What was another? So solving problems, speeding up problems. What was another thing that you said? No. Did you say speed up? No. Okay, speed up. What was you had like 3 parts, right? And visualization. That's. All right. So I didn't ask every single person, but I tried to get like at least a couple of the outer people. So some people were saying like if you have a repeating an analysis, then if you pipe that into a computer, you can kind of speed that up. And it depends on how repetitive that would be, right? So did anyone else think of like how a computer speeds up repetitive tasks? Like what would another example of that be? Or what would any kind of example? Airfoil? So what do you mean? What would you do with an airfoil?
Like making a web of like stress concentration.
Oh, stress con? Are you thinking like vibration or like
I guess all of the above.
everything? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess doing all that all by hand is like, I mean, that would take a lot of hours.
Yeah, yeah. So like NACA airfoil, I forget what's the 0071 or something. I forget. There's one that's like the standard kind of symmetric airfoil, right? Um, well, there's just like a table of values of like what is the lift coefficient, what's the drag coefficient, like all that stuff is just they solved it once and now there's a database of this is NACA airfoil something. So if you machine out that airfoil, you can expect that your results will be the same, just scaled based on surface area volume. Yeah. Yeah, so something like that where you can create like a predefined problem and you know how it scales. Those are great examples. But that one is specifically like aerodynamics, not as much. I don't think they have airfoil design information about stress and strain and failure. But you could, yeah, you could create like an FEA solution and like get pipe in inputs and outputs somehow. Yeah. And Python is actually a great, sometimes it's referred to as a glue language because of that. Like Abacus, ANSYS, and what am I thinking of? Like a lot of CAD softwares, they all have like a Python backend where you can tell Python to give and grab information from the program. What about like complex problems? What makes it a complex problem? Turbulence?
Just understanding what the airflow is going to be doing.
Okay. What makes turbulence complex?
So like, there's a randomness to it, and you have to use a computer to at least simulate something similar to what we've been experiencing.
Okay. Yeah. So like turbulence had and like chaos. So chaotic. And that one, this is like a very pedantic thing to say, but I'm a professor, so pedantics is my thing. Chaos is referring to like for a small change, there are big changes down the line, and random refers to a small change has no effect on the output, but the output is always random. Yeah, and that one, it's a weird, yeah. But people that are into like fluid mechanics are like, it's not random, like because every step of the way is very much based on previous steps, whatever the previous condition was. But yeah, it's something like turbulence. Like chaotic motion in general is a very hard problem. If it's chaotic, there is no closed form solution to it. Like you can't say that turbulence is always a given thing. It might have certain things that you could, like the shedding, vortex shedding has a certain frequency. So if the wind is blowing at a certain rate on a flagpole, the flagpole is going to oscillate at a given rate because vortex shedding happens at some predefined kind of frequency for that geometry and density and all of that. But actually understanding the motion, the chaotic motion of air around it, you can't do it. Yeah, well, it complicates it because now we need to take everything that's moving and track it. And the more accurate we want, the more data we get, which is the harder to process, which comes into kind of this part of like visualizing data and dealing with data problems. Like what do we, yeah, what do you do with like 6,000 lines of just numbers? And one thing is we could plot them, we could make like surface plots or vector plots. What were other people thinking for like visualizing data? Were you thinking about that or something else? FEA, yeah, getting like contour plots. Yeah. Yeah, or like CAD drawings, because now you have like a 3D representation that you can sort of like cast down into like one of these kind of diagrams. These are nice like CAD drawings on the walls. Like CAD 3D to 2D visualizations and representations. Were there, so these were the three that I saw kind of come up a couple of times. Was there other things about like why this class? Like why be in this class? Why use programming languages to do stuff? Were you thinking of other things? Yeah. The convenience. So I heard like two parts, like convenience. Is it all the same? And then running machines. Are they the same? Like it's convenient to run machines, or is it two separate? Automation, kind of connecting. So what would be like automation? Was anyone else thinking about how you can automate things that you have to do with a computer? Yeah. 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 So like how we were saying in the beginning of like we can speed up a repeated analysis. Like if we know that the answers like when I was in high school, we programmed our graphing calculator to do law of sines, law of cosines, and a few other like trig stuff that you always had to write out the whole formula and then solve for one or the other. So we just had a function based on like what we gave it. It would, if we had side angle side, we could get the last two angles in the last side. You know, like fill in the blank triangle solver. And that's a great like repeated analysis where we can automate. We can take something that we know how to do it, and we've done it dozens of times. But let's like cut out our workload, and get it done that way. Yeah. Machine learning. Yeah. Is that one automation or is that neural network? So neural networks are usually what happens with neural networks is they like process information and then they give you like some kind of output, and you can pipe that output to like an on-off switch or something, or turn it into like some kind of logic system of like if that's like what Nest thermostats did. They took the old like analog thermostat device and turned it into a neural network process, which does exactly the same thing, but it's with this neural network that's like learning, so it changes the temperature as you change. Like if every day you come home at 3 and change the temperature to 72 degrees, then after a couple of days it'll change it and now it'll send it through the same thing. So in that sense, you can use like neural networks that way. But it ends up being the same as like a PID controller of like you give it some input, it goes through a process and then gives you the output that's hopefully your desired output. Yeah, so like automation, controls. Convenience. Is it convenient to be like debugging code on your computer? Be like the output, you think the result, you know. I've heard this about writing of like no one likes to write, but they like to have written. Like even authors, like famous authors that like have novels, they don't like to sit down and write the novel, but they like having the finished novel. Code is kind of like that. Like it's kind of this difficult process of like nobody wants to. I mean, some people like it's a process. It's a little bit of art, a lot of frustration, a lot of skill, um, and you kind of get into a groove of doing it, but it's hard. It's hard work. So the process of coding is not so much convenient, but the end result would be a very convenient thing. Like now that I've like taken this Python machine learning toolkit and replaced my thermostat with this neural network, now it's going to learn. Now I don't have to learn how to like type in the temperatures based on like how I'm coming home every day. And when I have a different class schedule, that schedule changes. I don't have to reprogram it. I'll move on in a second, but did anyone else have a reason to be here that we didn't cover? Like why Python? Why coding? Why do that? Yeah. Ooh, marketable. Oh man. Synergy, marketing. Yeah. Like skill development, and like marketability or marketability. And this is like as a person, I guess as an employee, maybe we should separate our work life as an employee. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. That does remind me, because I mentioned this an hour ago, but now I had forgotten. That anytime, like if you're looking into like how does this class connect to my career, or what, like can these assignments be used as like something to talk about, like I know what I'm doing because I'm doing this kind of work, then I'm happy. You can always set up an appointment and we could look at like either a resume or a job. Ideally, it's like a job description that we can sort of take your work and describe that as like, hey, you're looking for someone with finite element experience. I have finite element experience doing blah blah blah, or like something along those lines. So if you are interested of like trying to find jobs, you're welcome to reach out. Cool. So all of those objectives for like why you're here, those are great reasons to like be here, learn this material, and like apply it for the course. So our course expectations, like what we should or should not be doing. I have like some examples of like, you can't, like if you're copying and pasting code from a textbook, then that's okay. Like definitely reference it. You shouldn't be like taking someone else's work, submitting it as your own. You shouldn't take work that you don't really understand and try to claim it as your own. So here's an ethics question for you. It's like, what's engineering class? Why are we dealing with ethics? Let's say we want to use ChatGPT and just give it a problem and have you heard the term prompt engineering so far? Some head nods. I guess everybody. All right. So I'll just mansplain ChatGPT to you. It's this program. No. So let's say you do some some prompt engineering with ChatGPT and you get an output. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Like, yeah, submit it, copy, paste, submit. Like, totally fine for a homework problem. Or thumbs down, like, no, you can't copy and paste ChatGPT work. What do you think? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Question? Well, if you could have written it yourself and you could explain it, right, at school. Oh, if you could have written it. But what if you could have written it, but you didn't? Instead, you copy pasted. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Like print hello world. Like that one we can all write. We've all done the tutorial. We all are Python experts because we can print hello world. That one, if I asked ChatGPT to give me code to print hello world, I don't know, I would be on your page of like I can do that. But also I wouldn't ask ChatGPT to do like one line of code that way. But something like more difficult where you know the process but you're not really sure that you want to put in the effort like typing it out. Something like that.
Well, I mean, it's just like automation. It's like
yeah.
Ansys, right? I mean, you could do it all yourself, but like, why?
Do it all by hand?
Yeah.
I don't know. Some of it. Yeah. Some of it you can do. What do we think? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Like, can you copy paste it? I saw some halfways. Some halfway. So I saw like decent amount of people that are sort of on the fence, and probably some edge cases of this. Of like I could have done it, I just wanted to save some time, so I didn't. And other people are saying like, no way, no how. Like you can't use ChatGPT. Do you know what a FizzBuzz problem is? Have you heard of this? Just start it up. Last class I explained it, and then ChatGPT also explained it. So let's just, I need a FizzBuzz solution in Python. It's a common interview question. If you're like, I'm a programmer, I know how to program. Sometimes, and it's becoming kind of old-fashioned, but it used to be you would get like, oh, you're a programmer, do a FizzBuzz solution, like do a live coding of a FizzBuzz. Now I'm sure they have like lots of other problems, but here it's telling us like every multiple of 3, print out fizz. Every multiple of 5, print out buzz. And everything else, you're printing out that number. So start at 1, 2, 3, don't print 3, print fizz. 4, 5, don't print 5, print buzz. But then when you get to 15, 3 and 5, now print out both fizz buzz. That's so it's a question about like, how do you set up for loops? How do you look at logic in operations? That's the question there. So I can write my own FizzBuzz solution, and you could probably think about it logically and kind of delve back into some notes and figure out how to do it too. So you could probably figure this out. But in about 3 seconds, we have a solution. What do we think? Can we say, yes, submit this, or no, you can't submit this? What do you think? Still no's? No. Any yeses? Some maybes? If you're on the fence for like a maybe, why would you submit it? Like, why would you say like, yes, I want to submit this. I want to put my name at the top, and this is my FizzBuzz solution. Why would you want to do that? And this is not a witch hunt. I'm not trying to like figure out who's using ChatGPT. This is more of like an ethical consideration of like, we're all using ChatGPT for different tasks. And as that's bleeding in and out of your understanding of computational mechanics, let's figure out where our line of like good, no good is. So what is our academic integrity dividing line, something like that. So what do you think? Like, why would it be okay to take this and say, this is my solution? Or if you, go ahead. Yeah.
I mean, I said no, but I can
yeah.
see where someone's skill level is like so far beyond this that they take a bit of time.
Yeah. Yeah. So the point was like, look, if I have done this or things like this hundreds of times and I know exactly what this is saying, like I would have done it the exact same way, then maybe the case is like, it's fine. It's mine. It's good enough. Something like that. So you're copying it. You deeply understand it because you knew what it was going to give you to start with. So you can just say that it's yours. Is that okay? Can we say that it's... So if you don't, it sounds like a lot of people didn't agree. So why is it still not yours, even though you like deeply understood and this is exactly what you would have done? Why is it still not yours? We'll walk around. This is a quiet class. Yeah. You didn't do it yourself. You didn't do it yourself? Yeah. Okay. So it's like, I don't know, I feel like for people who do know more about computer science, yeah, it makes sense to copy it and do arguments and stuff. But like for us, the only required like coding class stuff is you take your question. Yeah. So it's been a while. Yeah. And it feels a little rusty. Yeah. Go over and like sure you understand like the ideas and like but then once you add on other stuff, then if you don't know the date of purchasing, you'll be messing up little things. You're not going to be able to revise it by yourself. Okay. So then you're going to have to rely on ChatGPT for the actual work. So the practice of creating and debugging is going to help you, one, understand what it's giving you, and two, get to the next level. Okay.
You do the same thing with calculating. Where like you're not going to be showing my work for 3 times 50 or 3 times 5, right?
Yeah.
Like this, right?
Yeah, and even like if I had 2 equations, 2 unknowns, like I plugged it into a calculator, and it's probably right?
At some point, you have to ask, like, how much information do you need from the students that are
okay. Yeah, like what are they demonstrating versus what is?
When they're asking for it.
Yeah.
What's the point of the assignment?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So if you're just putting in a prompt and then just copying the entire thing, then that would be unethical. But if say it's like a larger assignment and you're just like saying, oh, I don't know how to do this syntax, or I know how to write this in Python, you tell me how to write it in C.
Okay.
Or if you're just like taking a very small portion of it that's maybe like tedious, but like the larger portion of the work is yours.
Yeah, so like creating like chunks and organizing them.
Yeah. Because at that point, like I don't think it really, like I don't think you can really claim that. It's like in this case, you just like put in a prompt and copy.
Yeah.
But like if you did like 90% of the work and then you're like, I don't remember how to like write this particular for loop, you just put that in and then it works. Is there any point like rewriting it so it's you can say it's your own?
Because like one thing, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but like one thing that comes up often is like if you're trying to plot something, you know what you want to plot, but you're not exactly sure what the syntax is for like matplotlib. So you could say like, I need a matplotlib plot, or let's do a 3D plot for, let's say scatter plot. X, Y, Z data. And here, like I know what I want to do, but maybe I don't remember like how to get things into the right stuff, and like it's giving me a little too much information. I'm not doing proper prompt engineering. We'll try that later on, but here it's showing me like the general process of like create a figure, make it a 3D projection, and then create that scatter plot. So I could either copy paste like little parts of it or kind of rewrite things that way. So sometimes like getting it into the right structure is really helpful. Almost like filling out a form for you. Like I want you to enter this information into this form. So you're telling it how to use information. So all of the ideas are still your own ideas, but ChatGPT is like organizing and presenting it in a new form for you. And the other example was brought up like, you know how to do it in MATLAB, but you don't know how to do it Python. So translate, take one, translate it to the other. And there, you did all the work in MATLAB, now it's translating that into another language. Maybe both of those. In both of those, in all these cases though, I would still reference, like, I use ChatGPT, like a little comment or something of like, I use ChatGPT to translate MATLAB to Python or something. So you have like some reproducible method of like, why is this person using like MATLAB syntax in a Python environment? This is so weird. And if you have that little comment of like, it was MATLAB, now it's Python, that might make some more sense. So it's easier to debug, even for yourself, as you go back and look at it, like, what was I thinking? Why did I do this? Because really all your documentation is for you 3 years later, and you'll be so frustrated with yourself in 3 years. Like, no matter what you do, you're going to be so frustrated, like, you didn't know anything back then. It's like, I was just trying to learn, man. Give me a break. All right, so first thing, even if I do want to use this code and say, like, somehow use this, make sure that it's mine, the first step is just make sure that it works, right? Like, if it's not printing out fizz and buzz, and it's not printing out numbers, it's just giving you errors, like, at least I've done something. I've done a little bit of debugging so far. Next, after you're taking work from anywhere, whether you're like working with somebody else and taking pieces of their code, whether it's ChatGPT, you want to copy, paste, run it, and then start improving it. Like, how does this thing make sense to me? Like, is this the way that I would do things? Do I want to make it different, like make it easier to debug for myself? And this is actually kind of nice. It started off as like an actual function. So it's giving us a function that we can run. If I plug in a different n, it'll give me a different range of values. So I could just go 1 to 15, and it just prints out those first 15 results, which is something that I would have changed. That would have been my first change. But since it already did that, let me start changing some of these variables. So like total count. So this is going to be total count. And instead of I could use like count. Just some variables that it's not going to change the output at all. But it's changing the way that I'm reading that code and the way that I can go back and debug this code. Then the other part, since it's already in a function, I can create a doc string for this function. Like, this is a fizz buzz function that starts at 1 and goes to total count, e.g. I could copy and paste in like this output, right? Oh, I should change this, right? Because it kept printing out 100. So it didn't, well, once I debugged it and actually got it to do what I wanted, it didn't change at all the output. But when I go back and read my own code, I can see like, why did I copy? What were the things that I thought were important? What did I change? And how does that, so I'm copy, pasting, improving is the main thing. So I'm adding some like intellectual property to this work. We got 5 minutes left. If I didn't make any changes, could I own this? Like, could I sell it to someone? No. Yeah.
the previously designed components.
Okay.
You can bring in the components that are being used that are not like off the website somewhere and put it into your drawing.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, you've done work off of their work.
Yeah.
Extrapolating
For
on it.
derivative work. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have like some derivative work from it. What do you? Yeah.
I think it all just depends on the terms and service stuff, even ChatGPT, whether you can sell that or not.
Yeah. Yeah, part of it is ChatGPT, but any large language, like even if you're using like an open source llama model, it'll give you the same output, slightly different, but basically the same. But it's the same question is like, I did some prompt engineering. Do I own this because I did prompt engineering? That's kind of the main question here. Who else would own it? Yep. Yeah, I asked the question. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you found a lawyer, you could own it.
Yeah. You actually, so this is it's weird. You cannot own it, even with lawyers. Here in the US, I think Europe has different laws and different restrictions and different questions about it. But here in the US, in terms of like, can I own intellectual property through prompt engineering alone? Like whether it's an image that AI creates or a piece of code or even like a written, if you have it write a manuscript for you, then you can't own that output, like the actual output from ChatGPT. And the reason for that is even weirder. It's because a monkey took a picture of himself. Have you heard of this? The monkey selfie? This one's a great like Wikipedia deep dive. This Slater versus Naruto case, way before AI was a thing, was the person was taking pictures of monkeys, and one of the monkeys got hold of the camera and took a picture of itself. So the person who owned the camera was making money off of this picture, and someone posted it on Wikimedia Commons. And then they tried to have them bring it down of like, hey, that's my picture, I own it. And it went to court of like who actually owns this image. And the ruling was the monkey took the picture. So the monkey is an intellectual contributor to this picture, but the monkey cannot be a co-author. Therefore, you cannot give the monkey co-authorship. You cannot be an author because the monkey is a co-author, so you can't be a co-author. And the same logic applies to AI, as like the AI there is no person behind AI. It's just like this random, it's this huge collection of data processing. So it has no emotions, it has no like need for money or I mean, it's lots of resources, but it's not like looking for human intellectual property. And because AI can't be a co-author, you can't be an author on AI generated stuff. There's all sorts of weird other things that happen with this. Like, it doesn't mean that if you use ChatGPT, like you have no ownership over something. Like we listed some different examples of like, if it's translating my work, it owns the translation, but not the original work. So you can still create things and use it as part of your process. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot of cases where ChatGPT will give you like trademarked or copyrighted code or like dialogue, and it does not attribute it. So it's another reason that people are so hesitant to give like copyright on AI generated things, because a lot of times it ends up being all previously copyrighted work. But anyway, cool. Thanks for our first day.